It is Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM, and Ouyen Inc., a busy community organisation across the Mallee doing lots of great work there, and it's time to check in again and find out what it is that they're up to and how the Intermodal project is going. It's been a while since we had a chat about that. Scott Anderson is the chair, of course, of Ouyen Inc., and he joins me on the line. Scott, welcome back. How are you?
Yeah, quite well, thanks, Jason.
Excellent. Great to have you back. And look, before we get to Ouyen Intermodal, and it's got a new name now, which we'll touch on soon, but tell us about Ouyen Inc. and what you've been up to away from rail and trying to sort that out, because obviously your organisation is a little bit wider reaching and has a broader scope than just what's happening on the rail side of things, isn't it?
Yeah, we certainly do. We traverse a lot of different areas. We've certainly got a Ouyen Community Gym project, which we've got up and running at the moment. Fitting out an old supermarket to turn it into a community gym. So that's one of the main projects we've got happening at the moment. A lot of volunteer hours going into that. So that's a really good positive outcome with mostly a younger group of locals actually driving that project, which is great to see. We're also obviously continuation of the work around the Ouyen Lake and the Ouyen Lake project, which has been extremely well received. And one of the more recent projects we've been working with through council and state government is an EV station, which will be located near the main street in Ouyen, which is soon to get underway in construction.
That's fantastic, because once you get the EV station in town, obviously those with electric vehicles who like to go travelling long distances in them need to keep an eye on where they can actually recharge. So is there many other recharging bases in your area that you're aware of? I imagine Mildura would probably have one, but I'm only guessing.
Yeah, Mildura has got one, but yeah, obviously we're 450 k's from Melbourne, so when people travel up, they might struggle to actually get to Mildura in their one trip. So yeah, there's not too many around us, east, west and south of us, so I think it'll be a real key piece for getting more tourists and everything to drop in, and the fact that we've located it right near the main street, so while they're sitting there filling, they might as well go up and do a bit of shopping.
Absolutely. Now, you touched on the lake too. I know there was a meeting of the Lake Committee last night. They're a busy group as well. So you sort of tie in with that Lake Committee, or is it part of your organisation?
It's part of our organisation. They're a subgroup of Ouyen Inc., which, so they operate under our banner, which we're very grateful for, because there's a lot of great work being done there by the volunteers involved in that.
Absolutely, there is. It's a fantastic, obviously, what's been done development-wise around the lake. And I know there's some pretty passionate volunteers giving freely of their time to just keep the maintenance up in that area and expand the offerings within. Is there anything that you can tell us about what might be happening down there at the lake soon?
Well, there will be a couple of more festival-type things coming up shortly, but we've certainly got some more tree planting underway, and some more, toilets will be finalised shortly, we hope. So, yeah, we're still working hard on a lot of those issues, and looking at potentially getting some seating around the lake and things like that through some grants as well. So, yeah, we're still working away at a few of those outside areas, I guess, to make it more convenient for everybody.
Beautiful. Scott Anderson, of course, the chair of Ouyen Inc., joining us here on Country Viewpoint today. And the real reason that we invited you on, obviously to get an update on what you guys are up to, but secondly, to talk about the Ouyen Intermodal project. And the last time we spoke, which was back in 2020, we were waiting on governments basically to fund the Murray River Rail project to sort of give your guys there in Ouyen the chance for that intermodal project to kick up. Now, since we spoke, not much has happened, Scott, unfortunately.
No, certainly the state government has decided that at this stage they're not looking at finalising and finishing the Murray Basin Rail project, which is very disappointing. It's not just an impact on our project being the Ouyen Intermodal, but it's also an impact on all of the local grain and other freight that's already on the rail line that goes through to port. Currently, the trains will now actually have to travel 125 k's further, I think it is, or might even be a bit more than that, further each way than what we used to do before the Murray Basin upgrade on our section. So it's made for longer travel times on our train, not shorter ones. So that's something that we're very disappointed about.
And rightly so. I mean, the nuts and bolts of what this project was going to be, it does have a new name, and we will get to that in a moment, but the nuts and bolts of this project were going to be setting up as the name, the original name intended, an intermodal setup where producers could get their product to port. Is that about right, through the rail system?
Yeah, it certainly is, in the most efficient manner made. We've seen the large investment. I think it's up around 700 million now that the governments have put into the project. And the key drivers of that project was to encourage new investment, get more freight back onto rail and off the roads. And so far, we can't see how that's happening. So we're a bit disappointed with that. And certainly getting this intermodal up and running, we're really targeting that really efficient system of a 24-hour train cycle, which we won't be able to achieve unless the Murray Basin Rail project's completed in full.
Scott, can I ask you, have you had discussions with anyone from government, any minister been in touch with you? I know the local MP, Ali Cupper, I'm sure you've been in contact with her, but what about anyone from the actual government, the layers of government? Have they been in touch to let you know what's going on, or have you just been left in the dark to this point?
We have had some contact and had meetings with a couple of the ministers. We're still waiting to get in to try and see a few others to keep pushing our points and pushing our cases to make sure they understand all the ramifications of the decision. But yeah, we would still certainly want to talk to a couple more of the ministers regarding that. So we have had some contact, and they're waiting our business case, which is in draft form now. So we've got that in our hands, just looking over that, and hopefully we'll be able to release that very shortly and get that back to the ministers and involved and, try and push our point a little bit harder.
Scott, what about to the name change? Ouyen Intermodal is what we originally knew this project as, and I believe there has been a name change. It's got a bit of a wider scope now, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. We just thought on that side of it that Ouyen Intermodal, we'd had quite a few people ask, well, you're just a dry land little area. Why do you want an intermodal, and why would you end up put an intermodal in at Ouyen? But when you actually look at it, the change that we've made to St Razier Mallee Port Link, we're looking at bringing in a lot of that volume of traffic from the St Razier area, being the fresh fruit, grapes, wine, numerous almonds, and that type of thing. So it's I guess that benefit, we're saying we're not going to be just benefiting our small community. We're going to be benefiting the wider region with direct returns back to growers throughout the whole St Razier Mallee area. So that's basically the reason why the name change. We just think it reflects more the area and the region that it will affect, rather than just having an intermodal at Ouyen.
I know through the business case and a lot of the planning that you had on this project, there was a lot of work done on just how many road movements would be taken off the road under this project and brought onto rail. Can you tell us just how many road trains this type of project would have taken off the road, should it have gone through in its original scope?
Yeah, well, when we first started the project, the road trains weren't allowed to travel to Melbourne, but now they are. So there's been a fair change there. But we tend to talk in 20-foot equivalent units, so a container of 20-foot length, which you fit two on a rail wagon, probably two or so on a B-double road train type thing.
Yep.
But yeah, we're talking about 30,000 containers a year potential there of being able to get off the roads for a 450 kilometre journey each way. So quite significant kilometres when you add it all up on a per annum basis.
Significant, obviously, amount of traffic off the roads, which leads to safety implications, as we know. But more importantly, alongside, and nothing's more important than road safety, but alongside of that is, of course, the road maintenance. And a road that doesn't deteriorate as quickly is a safer road, as we know. So clearly there's going to be some implications if this project doesn't get going in the scope that you wanted it to originally, in terms of what the road systems are going to be like in the area. If they're not committing to giving you the gauge of rail that you wanted, then surely they're committing to give you some more funding for roads. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, we certainly haven't heard anything about that, and part of the thing that scares us is I think there's been a 30% increase in road train registrations in Victoria for that Calder and St Razier journey to Melbourne sort of thing. So we're going to see more trucks on the road. Yes, they might be more efficient, but we're also seeing a growth of 3 to 5% a year at minimum of products being exported as well. So we're seeing higher volumes of freight needing to get to port, and obviously we're seeing less stuff go on rail at the moment. And even when it comes back to grain, historically it's been more efficient to transport that on rail. Well, now with the road trains and everything going, it really puts that rail at a stretch without an efficient system, which we haven't really got at this stage.
Scott, I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this question or not, but I'm going to ask it. Do you know what costs more? Does it cost more to lay or repair a kilometre of rail, or to lay or repair a kilometre of road?
Yeah, I think the rail would be more expensive. Certainly, I don't know the exact figures, obviously, but the rail probably would be more expensive. But yeah, it's more about that damage over the rail over that time when you've got caravanners and road trains on the road and no passing lanes between Ouyen and Bendigo. It's pretty hard to get around road trains on the road conditions. So we would certainly need to see a big step up in investment in road safety and road works and passing lanes if the state government continue to want more trucks on the road.
Clearly, a rail line doesn't deteriorate as quickly as a road would. So whilst it does seem like this decision's been based on dollars and cents, it seems like it's been based on dollars and cents in the short term, which is a bit of a concern. Doesn't appear to be a long-term vision for the area in terms of that rail line, which is really concerning, I would have thought.
Yeah, it is concerning for us because the way we can see it at the moment is it's just going to increase. That people are going to keep more grain and intermodal freight on farm, and they're going to just buy bigger, heavier trucks and put more of them on the road just because of the growth that's needed. So we really think that intermodal is a real good idea. It's a real good winner. It ticks a lot of boxes for regional development, tourism, right through to direct returns on farmers. We've seen the reports where farmers in our region, the freight is one of their biggest disadvantage points. So if we can get more efficient freight system and have that 24-hour cycle, it's going to be a benefit for the whole community in general, as well as the road safety.
Spot on. Last question for you today, Scott. What about the feds on this? This was co-funded. I know Dr. Ann Webster, the member for Mallee, was pretty keen to get this up and going and managed to get some more money out of the feds there at one stage, but we know it hasn't been matched by the state government. So what happens with that now?
Yeah, we're still continuing to talk with the feds, and I think they're a little bit frustrated that the Victorian government, as far as I'm aware at this stage, hasn't taken up the offer of funding a new business case into the Murray Basin Rail project in full completion. I could be wrong with that, but last I heard they hadn't taken that up. So, they've obviously got their support there that they actually want the project finished from what we're being told in complete and full. So we certainly support that part of it. We're not a political organisation or anything by any stretch of the imagination, but it's about outcomes for us. And, at the moment we haven't got the outcomes that we were promised.
Next time we chat, we'll talk tourist trains perhaps. But for now, obviously, we want this freight situation resolved. And wishing you and your group there at Ouyen all the best in actually being able to do that. Hopefully we can get some answers and some action rather than just some talk and rhetoric at the moment. Nothing from your end in terms of fault. You guys are doing exactly what you need to do there at Ouyen, and thank you very much for spending some time with us today to tell us where we're at.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Jason, for your interest, and we'll keep you informed as things progress.